So what I wanted to ask you from previous conversations, whether we were recording or not,
Yeah.
um, was about like things you remember. I think you said your mother and your grandmother sharing with you when you were younger.
Mm.
Um, I'd love to hear about that.
Okay. Things I remember. I remember hearing a lot about using my grandmother, especially because of her generation. She talked a lot about not wasting things, which I felt like was kind of an important lesson that I never really heard, and she's still like that. She was always like, we have to use all of the parts of everything, and like if even if like something was kind of going bad, like cheese or something, she'd be like, just cut off the part and then use the rest. And I remember just being like, why?
Why?
Why not just get new ones? It's just being a wasteful kid. And she also talked about how um, from a traumatic state, how it required like 7 generations for like people to heal from events that were traumatizing, at least
Wow.
in our culture. So it was interesting. And she didn't really talk as much until later on because she was going through her own healing process, and so it was hard for her to think about the past because it would just bring up bad memories for her. But more recently, she's been sharing a lot about about the way that she sees the purpose of life in a way, and she essentially was telling me that it's like the way that things appear on the outside isn't really the thing. It's hard. I'll have to think about it for a sec.
There you
It's
think about it. Let
Yeah.
me check.
Okay.
There we go. All good.
All right. So she was mentioning, because it was right before I was going on the big trip last year and I was going to travel all over the world, and she said that the most important part about going on travels and stuff is that I'm being called to those places because there's a certain like signature of energy that's there,
Okay.
that I'm really going to pick up that, and everything else on top of it is just like extra.
That's amazing.
And she mentioned especially that it's important to bring it sounds kind of funny because she's just like, I want more gifts, but she said like it's important to bring elders gifts back from places, and
Reinforce
yeah,
that.
reinforce the gift giving. But there was actually a really important reason behind it, because it wasn't like an extravagant gift. She said that certain thing would like draw your attention and that person would be in your mind at the time. And if you bring them that gift, it'll bring a story out of them. And it was just interesting to see that, because I tested it not on purpose, but I just thought of her and brought her something, and she immediately just started like pouring out stories. And she's like,
Wow.
"Oh," and I was like, "Okay," because she said that elders are meant to translate knowledge, because sometimes to us when we're younger, we don't understand things as much as someone who's lived like their whole life and is closer to death. So they're just like they tend to be able to translate something that we might not see. So if she brought back the importance to me of connecting with elders and connecting with different generations of people.